What's up, good people? Welcome to TajeAstrology. It's time for a little astrology gossip. Let's take a look at these celebrities' astrological placements to see what they're really like behind closed doors and take a look at the energy that's around them. Yeah, we gonna be all up in their business, but keep in mind that all readings are for entertainment purposes only. So you ready? Let's go. What's up? What's up? What's up? Salute, 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 love Zodies. It's time with Taje Astrology, and we are back with part two. Part two of the Celeste and David, this tragic story. All right, make sure y'all hit the like button and let's get into it. All right. All right, now for those who don't know who David is, all right, David is a singer. All right, well, okay, he's like this eclectic singer who started out as a gamer. During his gaming streams, he couldn't play the copyright music because his channels kept getting struck down. And so he began making like this unusual music to play while he would stream, while he would play these games. During the gaming stream, and I'm certain I'm not using the right terminology for it, but y'all get me. During the gaming streams or gaming sessions, he started talking with this young girl named Celeste. All right. Now, she was reported as like a constant runaway child once we get further to the story because this right here, this whole thing is a rabbit hole in and of itself, right? Now, there are some reports that say that he began talking to her at as early as the age of 10 or 11, all right, and she was like 10 or 11. So, fast forwarded on, he began to engage with this young child. They became boyfriend and girlfriend. They participated in legal activities. There was even talk at some point that she may have been pregnant, and it was resolved with, let's say, a pill. All right. She, according to the legal paperwork, found out that he was messing with some other girls. All right. Threatened to tell, which of course their whole situation is illegal because at this particular time she was like 14, he was like 20, right? So he called her over, took her life, cut her body up, um, put her in the trunk, and then went on tour. Now that happened in April 2025. By September 2025, they had found her remains in the trunk, in the front trunk of his Tesla, not far from his home. All right. So that was a speed version of the update of what happened. There's a couple of content. There's a lot of content creators that's going into the rabbit hole if you want to know the detail. And as of to date, um, the paperwork that the attorneys submitted have just dropped, and so a lot of content creators are going into that paperwork. So here we are. We're caught up for the most part. All right. Now I've already done a chart reading on Celeste, which was bananas. All right. So now it's time to take a look at David Anthony Burke, aka well, it's David, but he puts the D4VD. All right. So again, that's the creative creativity in him, right? But what I have seen is that there's a lot of symbolism in everything that he does. All right. All right. So let's take a look. He was born March 28th, 2005, right? Which makes him an Aries sun. All right. All right, y'all. Let's get into it. All right. Now, he is an Aries sun, Venus, and Mercury with the North Node. All right. Now, as you know, I don't know his birth time, so I don't know when his rising or the placements of his house. So we're going to go and look at it from just a generic standpoint with his personalized individual placements. All right. So we already know Aries. Aries are impulsive. They are the most physical sign in the zodiac. Um, they're impatient. Overall, Aries can be good people if they're not negatively aspected in their charts. Aries is ruled by Mars, the planet of sex, action, passion, aggression. All right. Um, he has Mercury in his Aries house, and he has Mercury retrograde, right? And so that in the Aries house makes me think that he may have had like maybe some comprehensive issues or uh, I would even say speaking issues or it also could translate to him just feeling like he just needs to speak of himself, but may not be able to express it where it comes out kind of weird. Mercury retrograde is, depending on the placement, could be seen as like an affliction to that sign, right? Now he has the Venus in his Aries sign, right? And Aries is the baby of the zodiac, um, which means that they're kind of self-focused. They're, self-identified, right? As babies, babies need to be taken care of, and they only really pretty much care about their own needs for the most part, right? So with Venus being in his Aries house, Aries is relationships. It represents girls, right? So I believe this right here is his placement that he is attracted to young girls, right? Uh, with the North Node there, that tells me that he is really self-centered, really self-focused, and he feels himself. All right. Now let's move on to his Aquarius house. And if you can see um, the picture that I included in the visual here, I think that one has a lot more uh, aspects in it because I did take some of the aspects out and kind of narrowed it down. All right, but all right, so let's move to his Aquarius house. Okay, so he has Neptune and Mars and Chiron in his house of Aquarius, right? And Mars and Aquarius is unusual sex, right? It can also be interpreted as bisexuality in some cases. It can also represent like his eccentric style. He has the painted nails. It's like a bending of masculinity, right? Pushing those masculine norms, right? Just being seen differently than other people as he presents his quote unquote masculinity. With Neptune there, Neptune in Aquarius is like it's weird delusions, it's fantasy world, right? And as I mentioned before, he is a gamer. Okay, so it's that is a fantasy world, right? That's where he met Celeste on that gaming platform, right? Now he has Chiron at 2 degrees Aquarius, right? Now it's in a tight conjunction with Mars. Again, Mars is sex, right? And Chiron is a trauma or it's a wound that it's hard to recover from, or it's going to take a lot of work. Depending on the wound, will depend on the different types of work. With it being really close to Mars and in that Aquarius house, that could signify uh, assault at a young age. Um, It could be that he was very odd, just a very odd child from the very start. Um, it could be that he was, uh, how do I say this? Let's just say that if he was assaulted at a young age, uh, that could have snowballed into other things with other children, allegedly, right? Let's see here. Look, with that Mars there, I do believe that it was some type of aggression or sexually related. Yeah, it's something definitely going on with that placement. All right. Okay, let's see. Let's move to his Pisces house, right? And so he has Uranus and Juno in Pisces. Now, Uranus, we know that Uranus is the unordinary right now. Again, and this is in the Pisces house. A Pisces house is that which is hidden, right? Um, and Juno is partnership, right? And again, Uranus is the unorthodox, unordinary, strange. In other interpretations, it is advanced knowledge. Um, I believe that how this translates in his chart is just strange, hidden relationships and partnerships, right? We also know that Pisces is the house of secret enemies and endings. All right. And he, again, in his Pisces house has Uranus and Juno. Now, what I found very, very interesting in his chart is that he has what I call flip flop energy. And I'm sure there's like a term, I know there's a proper astrological term for it. I just can't remember what it is. But he has Uranus in his Pisces house, and he has Pisces in his Uranus house. Okay. Now we know that Pisces is ruled by Neptune, the planet of delusion, and Uranus is unexpected changes, right? And they're in the 10th and the 11th and the 12th house. So that is 11th house is your social friend group. The 12th house is like again the house of hidden. Also, it's the house of is where you would be hidden from view. So it could be just out of sight, or it also represents like institutions as well. So I wonder if he has been institutionalized at some point. All right. So with that flip flop energy of Uranus and Pisces in his Uranus house, that to me, it translates into a level of delusion and blurred lines, blurring of the boundaries, right? Just kind of pushing those boundaries in strange and unusual ways, and implementing strange and unusual types of creativity. And this is both physical, mental, and spiritual, right? These are also like extremes of being overly obsessed, and it's the extreme from being like overly obsessed over someone. It's like they're everything, they're this, they're that, to a flip of the switch to being totally disconnected. That's that Uranus energy. We know Uranus rules Aquarius. We know that Aquarius, that's what they're known for, is being all in, and then all of a sudden they just flip the switch, and it's like they feel nothing. Where you go into the Pisces will obsess over their partner and see nothing but good, and kind of not see the bad, and then it just flips with that Uranus energy. Now let's This is stressful, y'all. Let's move to his Scorpio moon. Right? We know that the moon represents the mom. Scorpio is transformation, it's sex as well. It is death. It is a transformation. It's removing the old to make way with this. There's a lot of energy that comes with the sex. Now, the moon in Scorpio, it could be sex magic, right? It could be sexual manipulation and emotional control, especially if it is negatively aspected as his is. Now, what I found very odd and peculiar is that he has the asteroid Eros, which is in retrograde, right? Eros is sexual attraction. So, how this could translate to, you know, readings are for entertainment purposes only. Uh, there may have been an attraction regarding the mother. It now, which way that went, I'm gonna digress because I'm just gonna digress. All right. What I will say is that also with that placement, he had an emotional obsession with Celeste, right? And Celeste placement, her asteroid placement was opposing his moon in Scorpio. That was in a loose conjunction with Eros. So there was an obsession, but then there's also this opposing energy where he emotionally tried to uh, project certain manipulative, controlling energies onto her with this placement. Allegedly, right? Of course, everything is alleged. Now, moving down to his uh, Cancer house, he has Saturn in there with Lilith. Now, Saturn represents the dad, right? So I do think that they try to discipline him within the home, but I do feel like he rebelled, and his type of rebellion was just odd behavior, right? I don't think they understood his odd behavior, right? Um, I, and his Cancer house it's opposing his Aquarius house, right? So I think that a lot of what he did, it caught them off guard. It was like it was a discipline there, but I also think that with that Saturn in his Cancer house, it was more of a passive aggressive type of discipline, if that makes any sense. All right, so let's move to where are we at on time? Okay, so we're 19 minutes in. I said this will not be as long as the Celeste one, so I'm trying to hurry up and get through it. All right, so in his house, his Taurus house, is where the asteroid Celeste fell or showed up as, right? And we know that Taurus is the house of money, it's work, it's income, it's material possessions, it's the habits, right? And Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus represents love. Venus is also the ruler of Libra, which is the relationship house. Now, mind you, the asteroid Celeste falls into this house. Now, in his house of Libra, the house of relationships, he has Jupiter in retrograde. And so what that tells me is that with that placement in conjunction with all of the other placements, uh, it's given spiritual sacrifice in relationships or ritualistic implications or meanings within relationships, right? He also has a North Node in there, so that is like a releasing of letting go of things, right? Also, with Jupiter there, yeah, he could be traveling with her or with groups, right? But I did find that was interesting that um, her asteroid fell in his house of Taurus. And it, again, like I said, it is opposing his moon in Scorpio. And so what that tells me is that his mother couldn't stand her. She could not stand her. And it could be because that Eros is right next to it, but it was something a little bit odd, but like I said, I'm not gonna get into that. All right, so at the time of her death, of Celeste's death, transiting uh, his Aries house, all right, it was the Celeste asteroid, right? It was transiting uh, his Aries house, so was Mercury. Mercury was in conjunction with his Aries sun. His retrograde Mercury, which is his natal Mercury, and Venus, it was right there, right? Again, Venus is love, Venus is relationship, and Venus is also women, is girls. Um, that is within his natal. Now, Saturn, the planet of discipline, the planet of karmic or karma, the planet of death, is in a conjunction with Neptune at this time, right? Neptune represents endings, it's hidden enemies, and all of this is happening in a really close, tight space, right? Uh, Mercury, the planet of communication or miscommunication, uh, it's saying the translation is giving that something was said, right? Uh, that the asteroid Celeste, said that threatened his money because she is in his money house. So it's threatening his money, his values, his self worth because he was making it at this time, right? And here she comes talking about I'm gonna tell. Actually, during a live stream, she had already kind of spilled the beans on what was going on, and they had to kind of like cut the live short. But if she, according to the reports, was threatening to blow up the house, with words, that would have like tore his Taurus house up, right? And and not to mention again, Mercury is right there in his Aries house, and is also transiting. And Mercury represents cars, right? So within this short space within his chart, there was a lot of energy happening, all that support, if they're placed in the right place and aspect just right, supports him doing what they are alleging him doing. And I will say that just based on the information that has been dropped, it looks bad. It really, really looks bad. But what I will say is this. I am not certain that he acted alone in this thing that he did. Right? I will keep to myself who I believe assisted him. But what I will say is that yes, his career was on the up and up. He was an upcoming artist within his genre, within his age group, within the population of people that liked his music and is in gaming and all this and all that. His songs were very symbolic. And what's ironic is that a lot of his songs he created before he got into a relationship, but it's like art imitating life or life imitating art type of situation. And that is that flip flop with that Pisces, Aquarius, Neptune, Uranus energy. The lines are blurred. But what I will say is that, like I said, he was not the only one that would lose from him being exposed. I'm gonna say that again. He was not the only one that would have lost time, money, investment, freedom from him being exposed. So that's the reason why I don't believe that he acted alone. Another thing that I will say is that everyone around him knew that Celeste was around. All right. Now, did she lie and say she was older than what she was? It's a possibility, but I don't think that was the case. You know, but we can't play like that. He had a large amount of people around him, and everyone around him would be seen as a form of an accomplice and had something to lose. And I think that is the reason why, as well as in some circles, especially in the entertainment business, people tend to, and you know what, it really ain't even in the entertainment business. It's just that they are now becoming exposed to it. But people tend to turn a blind eye to older guys dating younger girls. I mean, we could talk about R. Kelly. We could talk about this all damn night. But I said I was going to keep this quick. And like I said, this was ritualistic. Again, it was a spiritual aspect implied, and not like a religious spirituality, but one of the content creators said that he was into anime. And there's, I don't know anything about anime, but it was a lot tied into the ritual that was taken, that Celeste went through, was tied into the whole anime and that whole genre of whatever that is, right? And it was a lot of symbolism. It was a lot of hidden meanings, but it was hidden in plain sight. That's that Uranus in Pisces. That's that Juno in Pisces. And then, also, he went to be found out. And that is that Pisces is with Juno in Pisces, the disconnect that he eventually ended up feeling, that Uranus in Pisces, hidden enemies. Pisces, the energy of Pisces is self-undoing, it's self-sabotaging. So he wanted to be found. The car was found not far from his house. And according to the paperwork that was dropped, he drove around with the body. So he could have driven a car far away, but they found it not far from the house, right? Also, just based on some of the correspondence that was happening after the time that she alleged died, and not text messages, but I guess posting. I do believe that he watched her decompose. He, out of his mouth, admitted that he liked gore, right? And I think that there was a sexual attraction to that because that Uranus in that Pisces house is making an aspect to his Eros that is in Scorpio. Again, all this is for entertainment purposes only. And all things stated is alleged and is based loosely on interpretation and astrological placements within his chart. Now, to date, he has been arrested. He has pled not guilty. It's amazing because he has pled not guilty, and he basically has. From what I understand, they plan on using his lyrics, his music in the case. I can't remember if the judge is going to allow that, but I do believe they're going to put all of it together. All right. So, the defense, the prosecution, they're preparing their case, the evidence, besides all of this that was alleged of him that he did with Celeste, it's also alleged that he has a shitload of CP, okay, so that's child inappropriate films on his devices, all right? And so that alone is going to get him some time in. Right now, I did hear a content creator say that his father is an attorney. I'm not really certain about that because I've only heard that once. It could be true, it could not be true. I don't know. Now, his brother, who I believe is a younger brother, and who was also in videos with Celeste, made a post stating that all, peds need the death penalty, which is actually on the table with the charges that they're bringing against him, according to the reports. Right now, I find it interesting, and I don't know how young the brother is. I don't know, but I do know he was in a video with her, or like they upload for social media. So did he not know? Was he just saying, "Oh, we're just friends. We're just hanging out. It's not this. It's not that." And everybody is like, they're kind of ragging on Celeste's parents, saying, "Why would the parents let Celeste go with David?" Right? And in her chart, I said that I do think that they may have been influenced by his up and coming status. But do y'all forget that there was adult parents that allowed their children to stay the night over to Michael Jackson's house? And whether it was something spooky going on or not. What? So is it that far off that if he's an up and coming artist and they're swearing, "Oh, he's just a friend, oh, he's just hanging out," to cover it up, because clearly it was stuff going on, that the parents, especially if she was a handful, would be okay with that? Okay with it, but not okay with it? I don't know. Yeah. At this point, his case will not be public, all right, for those of us who like to watch court cases. And there's a limited amount of media that can be in the courtroom. I think they say it can only be like 30 media heads in there. They can't take their phones, which ironically, they can take their computers, but they can't take their phone unless they've changed it. This here is absolute bananas, as I said before. And the crazy part of it is that it's crazy, but it's not unusual because, like I said before, this happens more than what people believe. It's just that this one has made the news. This one has made the headline, right? Um, like I said in Celeste's reading, it's not the end of the story, although her story unfortunately ended. This is only the second half of this overall story, right? I would say just with the placements, his placements, her placements, and the placements as they are in the sky right now, be prepared for a lot of unexpected shit to come out and be exposed, as well as affiliates and associated people, people who knew. He may not be the only one catching charges. It depends. I don't know, the angle, the full angle that the prosecution is going to come with. But I just don't know if he's going to be the only one that is implied. Ooh, wait, man. All right, y'all. That is all that I had today. Let me know what you think about this story. It's crazy. It's way more to come. Stay tuned. Okay, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe because I will be dropping part 3, which is going to take a closer look to their dynamics of their relationship, right? Uh, that is going to be off the chain. And I might do a video if you want to see me do a video of his uh, like upcoming energy or maybe the year ahead. Comment below, do the year ahead video, and then I got you. I got you. Until then, like I said, hit that like button, and I will see you in the next video. Salute, salute.